Oh no! Oh dear! I'm so sorry. My love! You were never supposed to see this side of me. Can you ever forgive me for the crimes I've committed in your name? In your name alone? I mean, that's what you're expecting me to say, aren't you? I can see it painted on your face. Don't try to lie to me. You'll turn into a coquette at this rate, and we're far, far, far past the honeymoon stage to be playing little games like that. Don't you think? Well, dearest, isn't it obvious? It was an intruder. A worthless little intruder that wandered in during the dead of night while you dreamed so peacefully. So naturally, what am I left to do if not take care of them for you? It's really the least I could do. After all, I'm sure you'd do the same for me if the cards ever fell that way. I mean, you would do the same for me. That's not a question. That's a commitment. That's what a relationship, a marriage, is. Well, it has to be an intruder. An intruder that just happens to be one of your close, coworkers, sure, but an intruder nonetheless. You could have been in danger, dear. You don't know her intentions in the slightest, or why she'd feel the need to visit you at such a late hour. I don't know why you feel the need to poke and prod at the issue. You really should go back to bed. I'll handle the cleanup and be in right after you. All right, dear? Dear, she's an intruder. Nothing more, nothing less. I mean, first and foremost, I make all your appointments. It's so cute when you get flustered when you have to schedule a doctor's visit or dental cleaning, but it's not inherently productive when you stumble over your words as if you were falling down 10 flights of stairs, so I took over that months ago. Remember that, doll? Not to mention the fact that the only thing that really keeps us apart in our day-to-day lives is the slog of capitalism, where you go to work and I maintain the happy home in which we both reside. Those 40 hours a week are really the only ones where we're not glued at the hip at practically every other hour of the day, so needless to say, I know your schedule outside of work. But even within work, within your workplace, that's not to say I've never been invited to a company party or haven't had to visit in the cases in which you forgot something back at home, something that you so desperately need. You can be so absent-minded at times. I basically have to come in twice a week to make sure that your head is still attached, let alone your flash drive or tie or favorite kind of pen. Sometimes I even swing by a coffee shop on my way there to treat you and the staff there. Gosh, they must be so jealous of what we have. You ever think about that? I hear them talk about it when I'm lurking in the right corners, They think we're unattainable, untouchable, the goal to strive for, a fairy tale that happened to stroll right out of the storybooks. They adore us, They adore you too, because sincerely, how could they really not? But you have to be careful, dear. You're so kind and so smart, but you're so innocent at times like these. You trust so easily and so freely. You don't recognize when worms crawl under the skin and pretend that they've always been there. You don't know when somebody who should be basking under the sun is scorched by it. But I do. I've been forced to learn. For your sake. For your name. And your heart. Because that co-worker, that woman, that tramp, she might as well have whispered in my ear and told me that she doesn't think that we're so unattainable, untouchable. She thinks we're human. And she wants to prove it. She wants to destroy our happy home, our happy little life. She wants to prove that it's all just a happy little lie. She wants to prove us wrong. Not because she loves you. Nobody could love you as much as I do. But because she loves the idea of being me. She loves the idea of being able to be in love with somebody as amazing as you are. But she can't handle the fact that she's never going to find that person. Not to the degree that we have found each other. Not as much as I love you. And so, all that she is left to do is to sow discord into our lovely little garden. I've seen how she does it. She claims that she's struggling, that you understand the software the best, that only you are the one who could help her in her time of need, and she knows that you're kind enough and pure enough in all your divinity to help her. Because, well, why would she lie? So at first, you begin penciling in time during lunch to help her here and there, but she demands more from you for practically no reason. More explanations, more research, more help. So you begin penciling in some time after work to help her, because clearly she needs extra help, and, well, what kind of employee would you be if you didn't help her in this simply desperate time of need? When this seemingly normal, otherwise kind, if a bit dense, woman is simply looking to you for a shred of kindness and patience in a world generally not inclined to give it to anyone, least of all, a woman like her. So, you begin staying late at the office. And it's fine. Your wife has nothing to worry about because you are so thoroughly committed. And she should have nothing to worry about if she's as committed to you as you are to her. So, you stay after. And it's fine. You explain things to her as needed, but you also begin to talk to her about her day-to-day life, and you about yours. About your ever-so-loving wife and your ever-so-loving life, to the point that you two are almost friends by the end of it. When she tells you that she didn't need all the extra help, really. She just wanted an excuse to talk to you more than she was really allowed to at that point in time. And you can't help but think, but to tell her, what a coincidence, really. My wife did the same exact thing. And that endears her to you. In a way. Because you see me in her. Fragments of myself scattered across tens of hundreds of thousands of different people. But her, the most. And that's what draws you to talk to her more. to really connect with her on a level that you would not with other people. And so, now that you're close, really close, as good coworkers, maybe even good friends, as they say, you finally have the confidence to pencil her in for a visit to your lovely home. The lovely home in which your wife breaks her back to maintain that same lovely home. Forgive me, I thought I saw her twitching. But then again, if you invited her, I'm sure you had a good reason. But I doubt that's what really happened. Isn't that right, dearest? I mean, you're not dressed in your pajamas, so that almost implies to me that you were expecting her to come and expecting her to come in the dead of night, but that doesn't necessarily mean you invited her, right? Maybe you invited her, sure, but to say it was done by choice is hard to say. It's just as well that she could have forced you to invite her, browbeat you into doing so, manipulated you as if you were nothing more but a puppet on strings forced to dance to her whims. That's what really happened, right? I hate it when they twitch. But she forced you to invite her, didn't she? Right. That's right. And so when I, in the early hours of the morning or the latest hours of the evening, take your pick, just happened to stumble upon a strange woman wandering around my kitchen in the darkest of the dark as if she owned the place, well, surely you can understand what I did and why, when I grabbed the tenderizer to bludgeon the brains out of what could otherwise be assumed to be a robbery or even a B&E, given that we have no idea how she ended up inside, it's only reasonable, really. I mean, it's a compelling narrative, isn't it? It certainly fits the profile of all the others that came before it, doesn't it? All the other harpies going all the way back to elementary school who only had their own feelings in mind as they did whatever they could to get you to feel any sort of way towards them. What a tragic life to lead. To have all those people who loved you and loved you so deeply face the cruelest kind of deaths imaginable. The point of even being investigated by law enforcement on a multitude of occasions for your unwilling involvement in various other cases. But think about how kind you grew up to be, in spite of the tragedy. Really consider it in the grand scheme of things. Do you think the universe would really be so generous for you to find your one true love in this world, and not immediately kill me if that was exactly how it went down all those times before? Listen, dearest, don't worry your pretty little head with all the details now. It's a long and winding story, much like the one I've told you tonight, after an intruder came this close, once again, to stealing you away, or, conversely, stealing away any happiness this life has left to leave you. Don't applaud me for this dance I've done all my life. Join in the great ballet because you've finally realized, at the pas de deux, that you're finally as much a part of the show as I am. Now, go to sleep, love. Really. Dream a little dream of a dream. I love you so, so much. And I love every minute in which I can stand by your side and speak to you as I do now, but it's going to get far, far more messy than you may think. And the last thing I need is for you to worry. Alright? Just promise that you would do the same for me. The same way you promised to stand by my side in sickness and in health, in the bad times as much as the good. And promise you'd bludgeon the skull of any fool stupid enough to cross the same path as I, and I'll sleep soundly, right by your side, until the morning sun says otherwise. Promise me, dearest. Promise me.